But looking at the case here, this is a tier 1 supplier of automobile parts. They have four particular problems that they were seeing. First one is they had big bulky loads, a lot of transports per year, over 34,000. And because of that, we move into item number 2. The racks that they were moving around were so large that the forklift drivers couldn't drive the forklift in the traditional forward direction. They actually had to turn around and drive in reverse. And you can imagine 8 hours a day, let's say driving your car. It's hard to drive your car for a few minutes looking backwards like this, but they had a lot of neck and back injuries because of that. So, moving on to the next one. So what this did is it actually had a higher labor rate because they actually had to have a surplus of drivers to take care of those drivers that were out on due to the issues with their back and neck. The fourth item there is they actually had a large number of empty transports. So they really looked to us to provide an OMR solution for these problems. Move on. Yep, there we go. So, looking at the business case, there's a number of things there that, we're looking at. We look at the, amount of AGVs that we need to run in this system, to run it efficiently. This is a 24-hour operation. They run 3 shifts a day. That's another thing we're looking at. And just looking at those numbers there, they currently had basically 66 forklifts in play per shift. So that's like around 200 operator or forklift drivers in that system. And they actually had to have 15% or 15% of those are actually on leave at any time because of those neck and back problems. So they actually have to have an additional 30 drivers to run their operations in this particular facility. So, looking at that, there's a lot of things to look at. I mean, the first thing you can look at is that those operators there. We actually have to have 30 extra drivers to run this plant effectively. So they looked at that part of it. So if you're talking about 30 drivers, around 50, 60,000, maybe even more, you're looking at about $1.8 million in just extra labor that they had involved in this system. That is a huge savings right there. If we can eliminate that effectively. What this plant tried to do is they really try to concentrate on these on their movements, their product that was actually being moved a lot throughout the facility. They were not looking at the lower end movement of material. They really concentrated on that area of the business. So we worked with them. We also looked at the movement of the material, what the pedestrian interfaces were there. We looked at a charging method there, and then also looked at using a condition-based maintenance system rather than a scheduled base. So as the vehicles are needing, we basically monitor those vehicles, and as they're needing maintenance, we would set up PM to do that throughout the system. So our solution was to use our Max Mover counterbalance forklift to move the materials around. The one nice thing with an OMR like this is it doesn't matter which direction it's going in. So, that eliminated the sick leave that we had from the forklift drivers, and they were able to take those extra 30 drivers and move them into value-added operations to where they could actually be utilized and not being, doing the mundane jobs. They could actually add value to their operations. So, and then also we were able to reduce the amount of empty travel. We saw a lot of, what the human factor in there, and a lot of the operators were kind of doing their own way of moving material around. We were able to optimize the movement of that material with our fleet management system and the operations that we had in place there. So the other thing I just wanted to mention too, I'm sorry, I missed one item there, is that the what we implemented to effectively get the high movement material is we implemented 19 vehicles in that operation, which was around about less than $4 million for that particular customer. So we were actually able to reduce the amount of cost with the AGV, was around basically about $14 per kilometer movement, when we were looking at about close to $20 per kilometer with the forklift driver. So they saw a cost drop of about 29%, and then they had a payback of less than a year in this particular project.